The markets are moving, the charts are going, and you've got questions that you need answers to. What are the key indexes doing? What are the sectors doing? Which sectors are leading? Which sectors are lagging? How far are we away from key moving averages? What are your go-to charts doing? Those are the kind of questions that you can answer using the dashboard. We're going to show you exactly how on the show today, and specifically, we're going to talk about one of my favorite little features on their dashboard charts, bringing charts right into that page, your one-stop resource for seeing everything that's happening in the markets. We're even going to give you my charts straight off of my dashboard. So lots to cover. It's all new. It's all here. It's Stock Charts in Focus. All right, my friends, welcome to the show, Stock Charts in Focus. I am your host. My name is Grayson Roze, Director of Operations here at StockCharts.com. As always, wonderful to be back with you. I've been doing a little bit of traveling, so haven't been on the show in a couple of weeks, so it feels great to be back in the saddle with you here today. We got a market that is rocking and rolling, and we are going to take a look at my favorite place to see all the action, really kind of drill in from the top down. That is going to be our dashboard. I like to call this the heart and soul of your StockCharts account. It's the first page you see when you log in. And there's a lot of power to this page. I want to make sure that you are aware of everything you can do with that dashboard. Specifically, though, we're going to talk about a feature that came up yesterday, actually. Dave Keller, our chief market strategist, we sat down together. We were looking at some charts. We were going over some things together. And he said, wait a second, what is that? How did you do that? How do you have those charts on your dashboard? I love that. So anything that catches my eye, anything that catches Dave's eye, anything that gets us to come together and ask, gets him to ask me, how'd you do that on Stock Charts? Those are the kind of things that I want to make sure I'm sharing with you guys. So we're going to do that today. We're going to take a look at exactly how to set up these dashboard charts. The great thing is we'll show you how to do that, but we're also going to give you a chart list, a little bit of a giveaway that's actually going to take the dashboard charts straight from my account and put them right onto your screen. So a couple of giveaways, a couple of good ideas here. We got lots to cover. I say we jump over to it and get going. So when you log into Stock Charts for the very first time, whether you're coming as a new user or an existing member, this is the page that you are going to see. As soon as you log in, you're going to be sent over to the dashboard. Of course, you can get here by looking for that dashboard link at the top of any page across the site. It's highlighted in green because it is so important. And we also have it over in this drop-down menu. So if you're up there, you can also access the dashboard right from there. There's a lot to this page, and I think that a lot of people actually don't see the full power of it, don't really explore enough of those features. So I want to quickly run through what's on my dashboard and how you can start to set this up, but then we'll show you exactly what I mean by these dashboard charts. They are a crucial part of my dashboard, probably one of my favorite pieces of it, to be honest. Helps me keep a track of key indexes that I want to follow. Real simple charts, as you're going to see, but they are amazingly powerful because of that. So before we dive into all these different panels that we have up on the screen, I want to actually direct you to this little button over in the top right corner. That's going to be the gears icon. And when you launch that, it's going to open up the dashboard preferences. You can see that you have a bunch of different options in here. This is the first thing that you need to know about the dashboard. If you haven't explored some of these, if you haven't turned on some of those additional preferences, those additional rows, make sure you do that. You'll actually see these things in action. You can see which ones I have on. So I've got additional data panels. That's going to add in 3 extra panels that I can fill in with things that matter to me. You've got the option to add chart list panels, which is going to take any chart list from your account and show you a summary table right on the dashboard. You're going to get up to 2 of those. Really helpful little feature. I do turn that on and off from time to time. Since today's show is focused mostly on these chart panels, I've actually turned off those chart list panels for now. Chart panels is going to allow you to add charts to panels on your dashboard. Pretty straightforward. You're going to see the power of that in just a sec. And you actually get to choose whether you want 1, 2, or 3 going across the screen. Scans and alerts, one that I would say you absolutely got to have on for your account. That's going to give you access to those key features on the StockCharts platform. And then the last one is going to be commentary. That'll actually show you new articles on the StockCharts platform. We'll turn that one on so you can see that. And you can also see StockCharts TV right on your dashboard. So you can see how easy it is to turn any of these on or off. You hit save, it's going to quickly kind of reload a couple of things, and then you are off to the races. So this page might look a little bit different to you because I've configured mine in a specific way, and I've actually set up the individual panels in some specific ways as well. So we're going to get into that as we kind of go from the top down here. First and foremost, of course, you got that market overview panel in the middle. And the thing that I want to remind you of is that this is interactive. So you can click through the different asset classes here. You've got equities, bonds, commodities, and cryptocurrencies even. And you can see that when you click on those, you're going to get a different set of key indexes for each one. Going to give you a performance summary for that day and the little mini chart right there. You can also click on any of these to actually navigate through those. So if you do want to say, hey, what are small caps doing intraday? How's the session for small caps looking? You can give that a click and you'll see a choppy session going on right now for small caps. Of course, you can click on any of these charts or the links down here at the bottom to get to different charting tools. So if you want a sharp chart, if you want a gallery view, if you want a P&F chart of that specific index, or even a seasonality chart, you can access those really easily. You've got the market summary link there as well. That one is going to be sort of a fixture, a staple of your dashboard. That market overview panel is always going to be there. But once you get into the top right corner, this is where things start to get a little bit more customizable even. So this little more menu up in the top right corner, when you open that up for any of these additional data panels, you can see all of the different options that you have. Sector summary, market movers, that's going to show you what's up, what's down, what's most active. You've got the scooter reports right there, the ticker cloud, which is going to be popular symbols sized according to the popularity on StockCharts. Very, very cool tool there. Predefined alerts, we've got decision point signals, a new market factors panel, which is what you're seeing right here on the screen right now. A Keller market model panel, another new one that we've released somewhat recently. You see that in the bottom left at the moment. And then even the Chaikin power gauge. If you have that plugin, you can actually access the Chaikin power gauge right here on the StockCharts dashboard, the members dashboard. So lots and lots of different options. And if I open up that same menu on any of these other panels, you can see that I can open any of those views for any of these panels. So I actually get to start to configure this in a specific way. So that's why I recommend that everyone turns on that additional data panels row. That's going to give you another 3 panels going across the screen here in the middle below that sort of initial row. Lets you start to customize your dashboard even further. Let me talk through why I've set mine up in a specific way. I like to think about the markets from the top down. So here we've got the market overview, obviously. It gives me that high level picture of what the indexes and major averages are doing. Next up, I've got something called the market factors panel. So this lets me drill down a little bit more and say, okay, stocks are up or stocks are down on the day. But what about those different sort of factors, those different things like large cap value or small cap growth? What are those different sort of flavors of the market doing? So this little heat map actually lets me see what is working on the day. Is large cap growth leading? Is small cap value leading? What is really, really working today? Also lets me kind of drill into, the risk profile of that trading session, of that market that we're looking at. Now, on a day like today, when we're relatively flat across the board, these are all going to be nearly grayed out. If everything is at 0, it would actually just be a gray heat map. But as things move, if it's up big or down big, things are going to be colored differently. So that heat map really allows you to sort of see where the strength or the weakness is in any market on any day. So that's kind of the next layer down. And you can see that as we go through my couple of panels here, it's really going to be starting from the top of the market and working down into the lower level, the stocks level. So I've got that market factors panel up in the top right corner. Next up, I have the Keller market model. Now specifically, I've selected the stocks model, but Dave has also created a macro model that compares some different asset classes like stocks, bonds, commodities, and the US dollar. I am a stock trader, I am a stock junkie, so I like to keep this thing on the stocks model. But what this is going to show me is Dave's sort of structure for measuring short-term trend, intermediate-term trend or mid-term trend, and long-term trend for key averages. This is going to be the S&P 500 large caps, the S&P 400 mid caps, the Russell 2000 going to be small caps, and then the NASDAQ 100, kind of that classic tech-heavy, mostly large caps, obviously, but tech-heavy flavoring. So for each of those, we can see Dave's measurements of short-term trend, intermediate-term trend, and long-term trend. Now, these are based on PPO values, and actually, the cool thing about this, if you click on any of these symbols right here, let's say you want to click on the S&P 500, you can open that chart up in a new tab and actually see exactly what drives this. So down at the bottom of the screen, you can see this is a weekly chart of the S&P 500. Dave has set up specific PPO structures, specific PPO indicators to measure short, medium, and long-term trend. So the one at the bottom is going to be the short term. That's a 1 versus 5 on the weekly PPO. We've got the 5 versus the 13. That's going to be the midterm trend. And then we've got the 21 versus the 34 on the long-term PPO. So this is basically showing you what these PPO values for that symbol are going to be. They correspond actually back to that map. So a very, very cool way to sort of follow Dave's approach to the market, measuring short, medium, and long-term trends for those key averages. Again, that's kind of going from top down. So now we're looking at some different market indexes. We could kind of flip the market factors in the Keller market model, but personally, I like to have that heat map up at the top. But we're starting at the market level, and then we're drilling down even more with these panels that I've set up on my dashboard. So next up, once we've gone through the index level, next up for me is going to be the sector summary. I want to know what the sectors of the market are doing any given day. So this is going to show the S&P sectors on today's session. So we can see really, really quickly, hey, energy is leading today, followed by materials and financials. And the weakest sector on the day is going to be consumer staples, followed by technology. We can see these are going to be sorted by percent change by default. And so every day I can quickly glance at the dashboard and say, what are the indexes doing? What are the factors that are working? What are the short, medium, and long-term trends on those key averages? And what are the sectors doing? I want to drill down to that next layer down, that sector level. Really, really helpful to be able to see this right here on the dashboard. Next up for me is going to be the market mover. So in this case, I've set this to the S&P 500, but you've actually got a whole bunch of different options in here, kind of similar to what we saw with the market model. So if you wanted to look at mid-cap movers, you could do that with the S&P 400. If you want to stay focused on the Dow Jones, a lot of talk about Dow 40K right now, you could select that from the menu. What this is going to show me, though, is the most active stocks in the S&P 500, and I can quickly jump over to the biggest gainers and the biggest decliners on that day. So a nice, helpful way to see some of the individual stocks that are moving those averages on any given day. So that's how I've set up my additional data panels. A really, really helpful way to kind of breeze through the markets. And again, this is the first place that I go. This is actually pretty much the place that I go during the day. I'm actually spending a lot of time on the dashboard just kind of reviewing what's happening, seeing things move, especially with some of these different charts. I can monitor exactly what's happening on the intraday session for the S&P 500, let's say, using these little mini charts. So the dashboard has a ton of power to it. Hopefully you guys have seen that as StockCharts users. But the meat of today's show, what we wanted to talk about, that feature that kind of caused Dave Keller to say, hang on, I want to stop this conversation. What is that? How have you done that? This is what we are getting at. This is the large, mid, and small cap dashboard charts that I have set up for my account. So you can configure this too. We'll show you that in just a second. And like I said, we're actually going to give you a list full of these charts. I'll show you exactly how I've done this. But I want to talk through exactly kind of what I'm doing here. So by turning on, again, that chart panels row right in here, you've got an option for chart panels. Make sure that that is turned on for your account. And what that's going to do is add these charts right across the screen. Now you get to choose if you want one chart on the screen, if you want two, or if you want three. You've got choices between 1 and 3. And you can set these up in a couple of different ways. We'll show you that in just a second. The way that I've set this up, though, again, thinking about the dashboard is a great place to go to get answers about what the markets are doing. I've set this up with a couple of key, simple charts that help me see what the major indexes are doing across cap levels. And these are very simple charts for a good reason. They're pretty small, and all I'm trying to gauge here is where are we relative to key moving averages? I want a really simple view of what the markets are doing, not intraday like we have up at the top of the screen, but a little bit longer term. So that you can see these are a couple of months of data. We don't have any indicators on here. All we have are a couple of moving averages. The red line is going to be the 50-day. The orange line kind of faded out there is going to be the 100-day, and then the 200-day moving average is going to be that green line. So when I scroll down here, this allows me to kind of step back a little bit, get a little bit longer term perspective on those key averages, but I can quickly say, hey, where is the S&P 500 in relation to its 50-day or its 200-day moving average? Same answer for mid caps and same answer for small caps. I can really quickly see price structures on those charts. I can really quickly see, are we up back at new highs? Are we still consolidating? How far off of highs are we? This just gives me a really quick, clean, easy view for those key averages that I want to make sure I'm following, the S&P 500, 400, and 600 in my case. Now, you can customize these with any charts that matter to you. This is what I've set up for myself. This is kind of how I like to follow the market, specifically with these couple of averages. But if you've got other things that matter to you, you could swap out these symbols, you could swap out these charts, you can really do anything that you want. The whole point, though, is that you can actually put your go-to charts on the dashboard. And more importantly, you can customize those charts to really work perfectly for the dashboard. So that's what I've actually done here is I've set up a chart list in my account and I've saved a couple of custom charts to that list, and they are specifically created to be in these little panels on the dashboard. That's what we're going to take a look at in just a minute. The whole idea there is that you're customizing these charts to work perfectly for this dashboard. So I'm not taking a huge chart with 12 indicators and trying to cram it into a small space. I've actually said, okay, here's the space that I've got on the dashboard. Let me create a chart that's going to really fit that space perfectly. Again, you'll see that in just a minute. Before we jump over to that, though, I want to take a look at exactly how these panels work. So, for instance, when you first set one of these things up, you've got a couple of different options. I hit that little gears icon in the top right corner of the panel. These are going to be the options that you have. And actually, when you set one of these up for the very first time, it'll be sort of in the panel on the screen instead of in this little pop-up. But you've got two options here. You can set these chart panels with a saved chart from your account, or with a brand new chart that you want to create for the very first time. So let's walk through the save chart example for right now. Here, you can select any of the chart lists from your account, and then you can select any of the specific charts from that list. So what I've done, again, is I've selected dashboard charts here. I've actually created a chart list in my account called dashboard charts. So I can select that list, and then you can see I've got a couple of saved charts in that list that allow me to quickly put the charts that I've configured specifically for my dashboard right on the screen here. So if we swap this out, I've got one fourth option in here. That's going to be VTI, the total market. If I select that, you'll see that is going to update. Now we're looking at that total market chart, VTI. So by configuring that list, by creating that list, configuring these charts and saving them to that list, making sure that they are sort of perfectly sized for the dashboard, it makes sure that these things are going to look good across screens. They're going to look good here on my dashboard. It's a really, really easy way to do that. So that is one of your options. You can select any of the charts from a list in your account. If you want to do things a little bit more on the fly, or if you kind of want to change your dashboard around and use this almost as a way to chart different symbols here right from the dashboard, you've got the other option here. That's new chart. So this allows you to basically say, hey, I just want to pick a symbol and I want to pick a chart style from my account, a set of settings, and I'll put that up on my dashboard. So let's say you wanted to look at QQQ. We'll highlight that one. You could type in a symbol, and then you could come in here and you could select any of the chart lists from your account. So I could do a performance 1-year chart. Now, these are settings that I have saved as a chart style to my account, but because I've done that work, I've set that up, I can now hit go, and you see that I now get a performance chart, 1-year performance chart of the Qs right on my dashboard. If I wanted to change that to a different symbol, I could quickly do that. Let's say we wanted IWM instead, and we could come back down to that performance chart, hit update, there we go. Now we're looking at IWM instead. So really, really easy to configure these things, to set these things up, and you got a couple of different ways to do it. You can either use the list version, or you can sort of select those new charts on the fly. The other thing that we mentioned is you've got options for how many of these you're going to have across the screen. So in this case, I've set it up with 3 across the screen. You might only want 2 though. So you've actually got these little plus and a minus icons that allow you to add or remove chart panels from this row. Again, remember it goes up to a maximum of 3, so it's going to max out at 3 across the screen. But if you only wanted 2 or if you only wanted 1, you can use those little plus and minus icons to customize this row. If I add that one back, you'll see that now I can select a new chart from the panel on the right. We could go back down to my dashboard charts. We'll set this up so I don't disrupt my stuff too much here, but I can quickly get that S&P 600 chart back up on the screen. So really, really easy to configure these things. So with that out of the way, now that we've kind of discussed that, let's actually jump over to one of these charts and we'll take a look at exactly how I've set these up. Again, the idea here, we're actually going to give you these dashboard charts. We're going to give you this list. You can see it right there selected. We've taken a look at that really quickly. That dashboard charts list, we're going to give you this in the show today. So down in the description below, there's going to be a link. If you are a StockCharts member, you can click that link. You can actually save this list to your account. If you like these charts, if you want to start with this, use them as kind of a starter and inspiration, click that link, save those charts to your account, save that list to your account. There's going to be a big green button at the top of the screen to help you do that. You can save this list to your account and you can do this exact same process. Get these exact same charts on your dashboard so that you can start following them day in and day out. You can also do this on your own. Create a chart list, start to customize some of these charts and save them to that list. We've jumped over here to the new Sharp Charts workbench. And the reason for that is that I want to take a quick look at kind of how I've set these up. So once again, I've created that chart list. That's going to be your first step. Make sure that you've created that list specifically for your dashboard charts. But once you've done that, pick the symbols that you want, decide sort of which indicators you want, what kind of time frame, what kind of chart type, all of those different attributes down here. You can see that in my case, I've got a daily candlesticks chart. This is a 6-month chart, so not a ton of history, but enough to give me a little bit more perspective than those intraday charts. And all I've done is added a couple of moving averages. Now, you might want to add something else like RSI or MACD, any of your favorite technical indicators. You can do that. These are normal charts. Obviously, you can add anything that you want to them. Customize those charts with all the indicators, the settings that you want. The only thing that I would tell you though is customize the size as well. So pay attention to the size that you're saving these charts with. You can see that when I load this on the Sharp Charts workbench, this is a pretty small chart. This is not something that I would typically use. Typically you're going to want a bigger chart that's going to kind of max out the screen real estate. But in this case, when you're saving these dashboard charts, make them smaller so that they fit perfectly in those panels. So if I made this, let's say, a 1600 pixel width chart, and then I went back to my dashboard, that 1600 width would get crammed down into a small space on the screen. It would be pretty hard to see. By modifying this chart and using something like a 620 or a 520, one of those smaller sizes, I'm able to make sure that those charts, when I pull them up on the dashboard, they look really good. I can see all the numbers, I can see all the values, I can see exactly where the candlesticks are, all that good stuff. So customize those dashboard charts to kind of fit the spaces that you're going to want. Now, if you're going to have one chart on the screen, you can use a wider chart, a wider width. If you're going to have 3 charts on the screen like I have, then I find that this 620 works pretty well. Maybe you want something a little smaller, but 620 to me works pretty well. If you're going to have just 2 charts on the screen, so you're going to have something that looks like this, then you might want something a little wider. Maybe you want the 700 or the 780. So customize those charts to kind of fit the space you think you're going to use on your dashboard. But again, by creating that chart list and by saving these dashboard charts into that list, it means that you can go and sort of edit those things on the fly very, very easily. You can sort of change them over time. If you decide that you want different symbols, if you decide that you want different indicators, different sizes, you want to start playing with things, it's really, really easy to customize those dashboard charts because they'll be saved to a list in your account. So make sure that you experiment with that. So in my case, again, I've got that dashboard chart list that you can see right there. And in this case, I've saved a couple of different charts into it. So if we flip through this, you can see those dashboard charts right here on the workbench. There's our mid cap chart. Here's our small cap chart. And finally, here's that VTI chart that we briefly looked at. So you can see that all of these use kind of the same set of settings. They're all pretty small, but what ends up happening by putting those in a list, by saving those symbols, customizing those charts, I'm able to get these things pretty much perfectly formatted right here on the workbench. They end up looking really, really good for me. And they're very, very easy to configure, very, very easy to edit. So you can see how easy it is to do that. Those things end up looking really good. It's just kind of sets me up really well for breezing through the market action. So that sort of rounds us out. Now down here on the dashboard, we also do have some of those other panels, your scans, your alerts, and we turned on that commentary row like we mentioned. We've got articles here and StockCharts TV. Just did a video with Larry Williams. That is one that you definitely can't miss. Definitely check that out. And then finally at the bottom, you do have access to all of your chart lists. So this actually could be one of the places that you go to create that dashboard charts list like we're talking about. Look down here at the bottom of the screen, hit that new button up in the top right corner. That'll allow you to create your own dashboard charts list. But remember, we're going to give you that list straight out of my account. That'll be a good starter for you. You can use that thing, start to customize it, start to add other symbols, add other settings, add anything that you want. But look in the description down below. We're going to have a link that lets you actually save that chart list from my account right into your own. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining me on the show today. It's been a blast talking through the dashboard. Truly, I think one of the most important resources on the StockCharts platform. There's a lot here, probably a lot more than you realize. And if you really take a little bit of time to investigate this thing, explore it, set this dashboard up with some of the things that matter to you, there is a ton of value there. This is one of my favorite ways to watch the market. Just set that dashboard up, sit back and take it all in. There's a lot that you can do with that page. The other exciting thing too, we've got some big new things coming to the dashboard later this year. The team is hard at work on more panels, more views, more features, different things. You'll actually be able to customize and save these dashboards. We've got lots and lots of big plans for the dashboard. So take some time to get to know it now because it's only getting bigger and better and more powerful this year. Very, very exciting stuff happening there. Of course, this is going to be the place to hear about it all. StockCharts in Focus. We dig into the markets, we dig into what's going on, but we also take some time to talk about the product, the site, process, how all these tools fit together to come and help you make better trading and investment decisions. So if you liked what we did today, if you're kind of new to the show, we do this every Friday typically, sitting down, unless I'm traveling or something crazy, but we do this show every Friday, sitting down to talk about what's going on around StockCharts, how you can get more value out of all these different tools and features. So again, my name is Grayson Roze, author of Trading for Dummies and Director of Operations here at StockCharts.com. It's been great to be with you. Thank you so much for joining me on the show today. I'll see you again soon for another one. But until then, chart on, my friends.